I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jawara Vanterpool. I am prior Air Force with a background in construction, project management, and business process engineering. Recently, I just separated from the military, and for the past couple months, I've been focused on finishing school, which I just graduated and got my business analysis degree. So for the past 3 months, I've actually joined the Savvy Coders Bootcamp, which is a data analytics bootcamp, which teaches Tableau, Python, Excel, and SQL. And this presentation is the culmination of everything that they taught me. And this is my capstone project, which I'm going to tell you about very shortly. Now, for my capstone project, I used Jira to organize my process of creating it. And also we use Jira to help facilitate our learning process for all of these things in the projects. Now I'm actually about to share my screen and show you my projects. Now, the question for my project is, which individual stats have the highest predictive value in the outcome of a basketball game? And the secondary question is, how can I use this data to make informed gambling decisions in an over-under bet? Because I want to utilize my data in a monetary way. Now, the first thing I actually have to explain is, before I even get into the data or anything that I learned or did, is what an over and under bet, because not everybody does this. For most of my life, didn't either. An over-under bet is a simple concept, simple bet. You take a number such as 24, and you take a player such as LeBron James, and you predict as the bettor that player will go over or under that number. Now, in this situation, you would take 2 to 5 players, and the number multiplier your number, your bet gets multiplied by, increases as the number of people you put in increase. So say 3 people might be multiplied by 5 times. So $5 might turn into 25. But say you bet 5 people will go over a particular number, then that same $5 could be multiplied by 10 times, and you could make $50. So it could be very lucrative, but it is also gambling. So high risk, high reward. Now, disclaimer, gambling is very addictive, not really the best. And that's why, I want to make it efficient. I want to make it so that you can take this and make this procedural. Now, these are some of the sources I used. So one of the sources I used was underdog.com, which is a gambling website. And here's a picture of some of their props on the screen, which this is Kevin Durant's values, 5.5 rebounds, so higher or lower. And points, they have combinations with points and rebounds, assists, points and assists. So you have plenty of options and plenty of opportunity. It's just knowing which ones to pick, which is the hard part. Now, the second set of data that I used for this project is from advancedsportsanalytics.com. This set of data has all of the NBA stats for each individual player for the past 3 seasons. It's a lot of data, around 90,000 rows of data. It's a lot of data I had to work with. Now, my next slide is a picture of my code. So this code is what I use to scrape the data from underdog.com to get their prop values, because I needed their prop values as a reference number. As you can see, I used the beautiful soup library, which is the same normal library used to scrape everything, but I had to do things in a unique way because of the way the website was set up. The website, although the information is public, they use another website to make it difficult for you to scrape their data. So I had to actually, since the data is available on your computer when you see it, I downloaded the data to a text file and scraped it from there the same way I normally would from the internet. So I had to use a little bit of ingenuity to do it, but I got the results I needed. So my next slide, this was This was essentially a practice graph to see if the player would hit the values I predicted he said he would. Now the average over this eight game span, which is just this season, is 30 points, and the projected value on underdog was 28.5 at the time. Now, if you look and see, he's hit this mark 6 out of 8 times, which is 75% rate. Initially, I wanted an 80% rate. If I personally want to make a bet on anything, I want 80% or above. So 75% wouldn't be good enough for me personally. But let's move on to a graph where they do have better percentages, which is Ja Morant. Ja Morant had a huge chance of going under his projected value of 6.5 rebounds. Just a couple days ago, day after Christmas, actually, all statistics pointed to him going under the projected value. And due to a lucky bounce or some statistics that I just don't have access to or don't have the knowledge or ability to analyze, he gets that lucky bounce and goes over. And this is all to say that gambling is a risk, and there's real life factors that you can't account for. So you can predict to the best of your abilities, but we don't have the ability to predict the future just yet. Now, this is a graph because my initial question was, what is the most vital statistic to getting a win? So I wanted to see who has the highest plus minus. So who is having the best or biggest impact on the game? And what is the stat that they're putting up the highest number of? Because that would give me an idea of what's the most important stat. So I look in this upper right corner and I see Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. Now, it doesn't show it here, but I know that he puts up points and rebounds and a middling number of assists. So I know which stats to look for. I know I need to look at field goals attempted, field goals percentage, rebounds, and free throws attempted. And I look at the rest of the people and I see they have high numbers in these same categories. So I know which stats I can boil these down to. So before I get to that, because I found a new type of betting that I didn't personally know about. And it's the same concept, over under, but you take the whole team's number, say they could score 120 points, and the other team say they score 100 points, and that would be 220. And you bet they go over or under that said mark. So I think that predicting that is actually easier than predicting individual players' values. So I wanted to make a chart and see if I could predict the money line for the Portland-Charlotte game. Now, their money line was 238.5. And if you look at this graph, there's an 89% chance that they're not going to hit this mark. You look at Portland's graph, and it's the 87.5% chance that they're not going to hit this mark. Now, initially, when I said I'm looking for a chance at 80% or above, this is that 80% or above that I'm looking for. Now, their actual score was 237. So in this particular case, it's right. But it's gambling. It's all about taking a chance, high risk, high reward, because it's the score was 237, 1.5 points less than what the actual money line was. So every one of these numbers that I've shown you has been extremely close. And this graph actually shows their past matchup in which they have never hit this money line of 238.5. Now, this final graph I'll show you is actually a comparison, which I have 6 linear regression graphs with total rebounds, field goal percentage, and free throws attempted in the 2019 and 2020 season to see which one has the highest R squared value or the biggest relation to winning. Now, field goal percentage had the highest value by a percent or two over total rebounds. Total rebounds is close, and my theory, my initial theory was rebounds was the most important stat, and I don't. I can say that field goal percentage is a stat, and I'm wrong. I don't like to admit I'm wrong personally. And this is my last slide and the end of my presentation, in which I tell you the most important stat to winning a basketball game is field goal percentage. That is efficiency, that is making your shots. And in a close second is rebounds, being that rebounds gets you more shot attempts, more chances to make points. And the most important stat, but it is not a singular stat, is effective field goal percentage. Effective field goal percentage is the best indicator for winning a basketball game, but it is a combined stat, which is why it was not the answer to my question. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you. And that is all.